The Minnesota Timberwolves, the 14th seed last year, they finished 19-45, and I'm very excited to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. To me, I think they're going to have the most exciting offense in the Western Conference. Must-see TV. It's debatable whether they're the most exciting offense, but I think they're must-see TV for me. I mean, they drafted Anthony Edwards with the first overall pick. Ricky Rubio got traded there. They lost James Johnson. David Saunders is the coach. They also got Jaden McDaniels in the trade. And I think the starting lineup of D'Lo, Malik Beasley, Anthony Edwards, Jake Layman, or Juancho Hernan-Gomez, and Karl Anthony Towns, this is such a great lineup for Towns because he has shooters all around. We're still trying to wait and see if Anthony Edwards is going to be efficient because so far he hasn't shown it, but it's just the preseason, so I'm not overreacting to it. But even if, you have Rubio coming off the bench, Josh Okogie, a lockdown defender. Jared Culver looks really good so far. He looks like he's going to take a second-year leap. You got Ed Davis, Naz Reid, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, who's probably going to get some minutes. And when he got minutes with the Nets, he averaged 14 points per game one year. So he's a pretty good player. If he gets some minutes, he brings some energy. And then you also have Jordan McLaughlin, who I think played great in the backup point guard role last year. I think the Timberwolves are going to be a very exciting offense, and I would love to see a lineup out there of Rubio, D'Lo, Malik Beasley, and Anthony Edwards and Towns at the same time experiment a little bit. That offense has a lot of firepower, and I can't wait to watch them this season.
Yeah, I'm a little different in the lineup. I think Rubio will start along with D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, Juwan Hernan-Gomez, and then Cat. I'm thinking that's the lineup they're going to roll out with. It could change. I just think Rubio is going to start. And Jordan McLaughlin, like you said, he played well, so I feel like they're comfortable with him coming off the bench and being that point guard for them. But that firepower, Malik Beasley, Anthony Edwards, D'Lo, Cat, those are 20-point scorers. I think Anthony Edwards can be a 20-point scorer. Malik Beasley can be a 20-point scorer. D'Lo has shown he is a 20-point scorer. Cat is a 25-point scorer. So that's 80, 90 points right there. And then Rick Rubio is going to chip in. I think Jared Culver, like you said, I like him. I think he's going to make a jump this year. Josh Okogie's going to give you that defense you need. This team is really good. I think Naz Reid, and I was on Finsta, funny thing, and I saw Naz Reid post, and he's talking about how the Minnesota Timberwolves really believe in him, and they're putting him in a bigger role this year. So that's good to see because Naz Reid played well for them down the stretch. So that's going to be good to see. But this team is definitely going to score a lot of points, and I'm talking about they're going to be in a lot of games where it's going to come down to the wire because they're going to score that many points. Now, whether they win them or not is up to them, but I feel like they're going to be in a lot of 140, 150-point shootouts with the type of team they produce. Now, in terms of the playoff seeding, I think they can get a play-in game. I think they can sneak up and steal some games and get to the 10th seed, 9th seed. I don't think they're good enough to get an 8th, a lock-in yet, but I think they can definitely, if not get a 10th, maybe get out of 11, 12 by 2-3 games. Like, the West is going to be so broken up by about 2-3 games. It's going to be hard to judge teams, but I do think Minnesota is going to be competitive. And even if they lose, get another player, get a wing in there. I think a Jonathan Kuminga would be nice for them. He can play the 4, so that would be great for them. Or maybe getting a point guard for the future. Maybe they get Jalen Suggs. That would be great for them. So, it just depends. But I feel like even getting a Jalen Green and putting D'Lo at the 1 permanently would be great for them. Or Brandon Boston. So that would be great for them. I think either or is a win-win. Getting in the play-in, getting your guys some experience, losing, getting a draft pick, I think it's a win-win because their pick is top 3 protected. I don't think they'll end up top 3. So that's just my opinion. So I think they'll get there. I think they could end up top 3. So that'd be good for them in the process. But if not, get your guys some experience and then they'll be good.
Yeah, I think the Timberwolves are going to be a really fun team to watch this year. They have a lot of nice young talent, and they're headed in the right direction. The last couple of years, the biggest question with them has been their culture ever since it got exposed by Jimmy Butler. But Gerson Rosas has come in and essentially gutted that franchise. The only 2 guys left since he took over in 2019 are D'Angelo Russell and Karl Towns. I think that getting rid of Andrew Wiggins helped that culture a little bit. So now you're starting to hit the reset button. The offense, I think, like Joel mentioned, is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait to see the lineups they put out there and how Anthony Edwards develops over the course of this season. Of course, there's questions about his passion for the game and whatnot. So that'll be interesting to see. The defense is definitely going to be a liability. And I think this year they're going to be on the outside looking in, which is, like Riv said, a good thing because this is a very good draft to be a lottery team in. You want to have a chance to get one of these top guys from this year's draft. But out east, I think they would be a playoff team. I think they have the talent to be a playoff team, but in the Western Conference, it's so tough, and there's so many teams that, I feel more sure of. I think they could sneak into a play-in spot, but right now I'm going to say they're on the outside looking in.
I mean, I think it would be great for the Timberwolves to get a top pick, but I just don't think there are any players at the top of the draft that fit that team, because you're not going to draft Suggs. You have D'Lo. Why draft Jalen Green if you have Edwards, who you just drafted with the first pick? Kuminga would be a fit. Brandon Boston would be a fit. Cade Cunningham, if you want to put him in at to play the 4, but he can still be like your ball handler, kind of like what Philly does with Ben Simmons. I don't think they'll get a top pick, though. In my opinion, I think the Timberwolves are kind of stuck in a place because they're stuck in waiting on their young players to develop. Where you're hoping that Anthony Edwards is a superstar. You're hoping that Jared Culver is going to be a very solid role player with all-star potential. I've always believed in Malik Beasley, but we're just waiting to see how good is this duo of Towns and D'Lo are really going to be. What are they going to be? Because this can either end up really good for the Timberwolves or it can end up resetting their whole rebuild. And it's really tricky. I think this year and the next year are kind of make and break for the Timberwolves. I love their offense this year, but what they need to do going into next offseason is surrounding this team with wing defenders that can shoot as well. I just don't think Hernan Gomez and Jake Layman starting at the 4 are going to cut it moving forward. They need another type of player. I think this year their projection for me, they'll finish with the 11th seed in the Western Conference. I can see them being as high as 8 and as low as 12 or even 13 if everything goes wrong, because we know Cat is in and out. He's hurt sometimes. So you never know. I mean, Cat is a historically great offensive big man, but how far can that take you? It's still to be seen. These young players have to develop, and the Timberwolves and Timberwolves fans are hoping that they do develop.
And I agree with some of your points. I think Cade Cunningham would be solid for them because he can run the 1 through 4 essentially in this type of era of basketball. Brandon Boston, like you said, I think he could slide at the 3. But I also agree with the sense that it is a wait and see process, and I think they've been patient enough with the wait and see process. I think they're going to be patient this time because I feel like they really feel like they have something here, and I agree with them. I think they do have a lot of youth. You've seen it with D'Lo. Turning it up, getting that Brooklyn Nets team. Jack was firsthand, getting that Brooklyn Nets team to the playoffs, showing what he could do. He's prime time. He's special, ice in his veins. And then we seen Cat, dominant, offensive big man, 25 and 13. He's getting that jump shot up. He's almost at 40%. So that's incredible to see from a big man. And then, Anthony Edwards coming in, can he be a superstar? Even an all-star would benefit them, because he's a guy who showed in college that he can turn it up. You've seen that game against Michigan State where he just exploded for 25 points in the second half. So this is going to be interesting to see Jared Culver, who took the Texas Tech to the national championship. You saw what he did in college. So it's really a wait and see process. And the beauty of it is they have young guys that are willing to work. They have a new culture. This is getting Andrew Wiggins out, like Jack said. I felt like expanding everything, getting Jimmy Butler out. Although he's a winner, I felt like he just wasn't going to be with them for the foreseeable future. So getting him out and realizing what you had was good. And now really paying Malik Beasley was good because now you got him locked in. You can see what he can be. And I think he can be really, really good. So this is a team that D'Lo 24, Cat 25. I think Malik Beasley is like 23. Anthony Edwards is 19, 20. So these are young guys. They aren't at their prime yet. So this is going to be interesting to see. But like you said, I have them sneaking in 11, 12, trying to get a play-in spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a play-in spot, though.
I I think that the Timberwolves are going to be fun this year. I'm not as high on them as you guys are. I have them finishing at 13. I could see them sneaking up to 10 and getting into that play-in spot, but I could also see things going wrong because we haven't had those culture questions really answered yet. We hope that things have turned around, but we don't have any sure answers on what they are as a franchise right now. So, if things don't go right, I could see them finishing at 14 or 15, but you have to hope that Anthony Edwards is that dude that you thought he was drafting him. And if that's the case, and D'Angelo Russell and Karl Towns only played one game together last year, so we still got to see that fit. And throwing in Anthony Edwards, there's a lot of question marks. So them finishing at 13 on my list is not an indictment of who I think they are. I think they could be solid moving forward, but I think it's going to be another year before you really start to see them improve.
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely going to be one of the most exciting offenses in the NBA. And regardless if they don't make the playoffs, like we've been saying, it's not such a bad thing in the Western Conference because this conference is loaded top to bottom. Outside of OKC, every team has a case to be in the play-in, to be honest.